This video is about how to crochet a cuff around your sleeve, but this method can also be used to make bottom ribbing of a sweater. If you follow the exact steps I'm going to show you, you're going to get a result like this one. But for this sleeve, we can see it has a much more smaller cuff compared to how big the sleeve is. I'm going to explain that later after I show you how to make this one. So just pretend this is your sleeve, and now you want to crochet a cuff around it. I'm going to make a slip knot first. Attach my yarn to the first stitch. And then now it depends on how long you want your cuff to be. I usually chain 10, but just to show you how it works, I'm going to chain 5. And this is how long my cuff is going to be when it's finished. Then we're going to chain 1 in the second stitch from the hook. Insert my hook in that stitch and make a single crochet. In the next stitch, one more single crochet. Next stitch, single crochet. So you're going to work one single crochet in every chain. And depending on how many chains you have, the number of your single crochets would differ as well. So I chained 5. I would have 5 single crochets for each row. And then when I finish this row, I'm going to attach it to this edge, slip stitch in the next stitch under both loops. So now we have attached this row to the edge. I'm going to begin my next row like that. So normally you would chain 1 at the beginning of the row, but since we're doing the cuff, we want it to be directly attached to the edge. So insert my hook in the next stitch and then make another slip stitch. This will work as the chain 1. Then I'm going to turn my work, find your first single crochet, which is this one. Insert your hook in the back loop and make a single crochet. Then you're going to work one single crochet in the back loop of every stitch for this row. Now when you're away from the sleeve edge, you can just chain 1 to begin your row. Turn your work. From that first single crochet, again, back loop, insert your hook, make a single crochet, and do 5 single crochets. And then you want to attach this row to the edge, and then slip stitch again to begin a new row. So this is what you're going to repeat back and forth. When you get to the end of the row here, chain 1. When you get to this edge, slip stitch in the next 2 stitches. So I've got my last stitch of the round here. When I finish this row in this direction, so I'm going to slip stitch in the last stitch. Depending on how many stitches you have around the edge, you could end your last row on this side or on the other. But either way, you're just going to chain 1 and fasten off. Cut this yarn. Leave a tail to sew these 2 edges together. I'm going to line my 5 stitches up. I'm going to go in the first stitch, top down, and then the first stitch on this side, top down again. Next stitch in the same direction, top down, and then the second stitch on this side. Third stitch, third on this edge, and after a few stitches, I'm just gonna pull my yarn tight. Fourth on this edge, all the way to your last stitch. and then you're going to weave this end in to the wrong side, and then we got this cuff here that is gonna be more elastic than our sleeve. I really prefer this method to the one where you make your cuff separately and then attach it to the sleeve. Then you'd have an extra step, which is to sew them together, but with this method, you don't have to do that. So now you can see we've got a pretty standard cuff just like this one. If you want your cuff to be smaller, you just need to change one thing. When you get to this end, you slip stitch in the next 2 stitches every time you get to this end. For this one, you slip stitch in the next 3 stitches. And that is the only thing you need to change to get a smaller cuff like this.